Hi, welcome again for another session of certificates and documents that are required to be carried on board ships, in particular the container ships, based on a write up, as well as the MSc circular that we talked about in our previous sessions. Okay, so the last we talked about was on the Colrec Convention. Um, Before I go into it, I wish you all very happy and prosperous New Year, both out at sea and who are ashore. Yeah, all the best. Um, these are just sharing my knowledge on board container ship and the write up, the time I had to write this small article about the ships and ship certificates and documents. Okay, so we covered coal rights and also the next one in line is we are almost nearing the write up. So I've been telling this often, but I hope to complete it in the next few sessions. Just bear with me. Okay, the next one is on CSC convention. It's called International Convention for Safe Containers. Yeah. So what is this? Containers that we carry on board ships are manufactured by many companies, and the liner department takes care of that to make sure the shipper loads the cargo inside the container, which is good for the carriage of such thing at sea. Unit, you call it. Yeah. So again, to standardize the safety aspect as well as the carriage requirement of such boxes, there was a convention by IMO which was ratified by all the countries, and it has come into force. And who says this that these containers have to be from this convention? Yeah. Well, again, go back to Solus. Solus, I forget which chapter. Solus chapter 6. Yeah. Solus chapter 6, carriage of cargo. It refers to the freight containers. They have to comply with the requirements of the carriage of International Convention for Safe Containers. Okay, so that we know that the containers which are loaded on board are in compliance with this convention. What does it mean? So it means that these containers are well maintained, they are tested periodically, and who the manufacturer can approach the class to certify these, and their weights are exactly the tear weight is uh, measured, and and it is certified as such, so that this doesn't pose a threat to our life, marine environment, and the life. Yeah, and the cargo which is stored inside is carried safely from A to B. So Solus Chapter 6, Carriage of Cargo, and the Cargo Securing Manual, it just states that cargo units have to be loaded, safely stored, loaded, and carried throughout the voyage until it is discharged as and has to be secured as per a certified cargo securing manual. So the onus is on the owner of this container that they have to be maintained and certified periodically. Okay, so what kind of certificate that this one has? So all of us might have, all of us are, for certainly we have all seen during our rounds that there is a plate, certificate plate, which is affixed on the door of the container. So it's called a safety approval plate. Yeah. So that's what the specific term is. The safety approval plate itself is a certificate for that particular container. So it specifies code under which it is surveyed, the certifying authority, and its weights when it is fully loaded, how much it can carry, when it is empty, what is the weight of that container, and when is the next service due. All those things are mentioned in a short form in that particular plate. Yeah, affixed on the container. So it has to be, that means, yeah, it has to be a metal of such quality that it is attached properly, and it stays with the door, with the container, yeah, for its carriage on board ships. Okay, so um, all of us have heard about, and we comply with the verified gross mass which has come into force. So that says that Each container, it's a shipper's responsibility before loading such a container on board that it has to, the gross mass has to be verified. So they say they can do it in a couple of ways. One is just weigh the cargo, and the weight of the container is added to it. Yeah. So where is the weight of the container? It comes from the safety approval certificate, safety approval plate. Yeah. So that is periodically maintained, periodically surveyed, and internationally it's accepted that these are safe containers to be, which can be carried on board for the safe storage of cargo and carried. Yeah. Why they have all these corner fittings which are strengthened members so that you can attach a lashing and it stays put in its place. Yeah. And it's the onus falls on the shipper that the cargo has to be stored properly inside so that it doesn't move during the sea transport or any transport, from the time it is shipped, from the time it is stuffed until it is destuffed. Okay, so that's about International Convention for Safe Containers. Then, what's the next one? Next one is Constitution and Convention of the International Telecommunication Union, ITU convention. Yeah. So this ITU convention is what merchant ships are provided with ship station license. Yeah, the ship is given license authority to operate the radio station. Yeah, that we have in Masat Sea, GMDSS equipment. Yeah, and all this are which are in compliance with the SOLAS regulation. Okay, so the ship is given a separate identity, a call sign, and an MMSI number. Call sign is, of course, given by the flag state. MMSI number is the identity that is given from the ITU, and it is recorded as such. Okay, and also it mentions the sea areas that are to be covered in that ship station license. Yeah, for a Hong Kong flag state, it's always who issues the certificate, ship station license. So it is by the wireless department of the flag state, under which the vessel is flagged. So the wireless department, in the case of Hong Kong flag state, it is the Office of Communications Authority of the Hong Kong flag state. Yeah, they issue this license. So it comes out with a set of publications which are current and valid that has to be carried on board. Yeah. Also, you carry the ship station license directly issued by the wireless department. It is not issued the by the classification society. Yeah, it is by the wireless department because it is a ship station which transmits, and receives signals. Okay, as per International Telecommunication Union. Yeah. Okay, so we are coming to the end of all the IMO conventions. Not all of them, yeah. The ones which require, which are most often dealt with on board ships, and then which require certificates to be carried on board ships. There are many more other IMO conventions, yeah, with which the maritime traffic operates. To name a few, okay, I've written down a list of such conventions over here. What are they? Yeah, they are. Inmarsat Convention, Convention for the Maritime Search and Rescue Operations, yeah, Convention for Suppression of Unlawful Act Against Safety of Maritime Navigation, and Prevention of Pollution by Dumping of Waste and Other Matter. Then we have convention to prepare for and respond in case of oil pollution damage or hazardous materials across the seas. Yeah, by of course transporting vessels like merchant ships. Yeah, and what else? You have limitation of liability convention, and then you have civil liability in the field of maritime carriage of nuclear fuel. Yeah, there are a lot of these IMO conventions. There are many, and you can easily get it through the IMO website, and they are very good. Some of them are directly related to us, and we deal with it, such as which one? Yeah, International Convention on Salvage. Sorry. Yeah, so International Convention on Salvage. We talked about some time back. Under what context? Yeah, it was for carrying the towing booklet. Yeah, the towing booklet. Yeah. So towing booklet, we had two of them. One forward as required by SOLAS. Yeah, as per this IMO circular. Yeah, two, one forward and one forward of the collision bulkhead and one on the bridge or easily accessible place. And I said you can attach to that a copy of not people. I mean, generally the companies have a copy of Lloyd's open form. Yeah, so that's like. A copy of it I have here. So this is the Lloyd's open form, no queue, no pay. So a copy of it. It's a very simple form. There's no complications to it. Easy to fill up. So and there are no big this thing, but it's an accepted norm to keep this in that. So you have salvage convention. So such conventions are enforced by IMO. IMO itself was established and adopted when in 1948. Yeah, and entered into force in 1958. IMO, initially it used to be called International Maritime Consultative Organization, and it was on a very consultative basis based on the probably the lawful transport of shipping. And then the safety aspect came into it in a very big way. And then, of course, the marine pollution and other such important topics were added to it. Yeah, so that is those are the conventions. Okay, so uh, among all these things, initially we talked about many of them in sequence, like started with Marpol and Solus. I consider Marpol and Solus to be two main pillars of our merchant shipping because of the reason why. So Solus, of course, everybody knows it contains a volume of information for the safe operation of ship, construction of ship, operation of ship. Yeah, and Marpol, of course, is safety of our environment. Yeah. Apart from that, both documents have, in one form or other, in their addendum or where in their additional pages or in addendum, exactly to code, it is Annex One of Solus. Yeah, it contains the certificates and documents required to be carried on board ships, and then it attaches this IMO circular, the current one. Yeah. So I am assuming that 2022 is the current one. So that is what it is in force. Certificates, a list of certificates and documents required to be carried on board ships adopted by the IMO. Okay. So it talks about that. Solus Annex 1 talks about that. It mandates that this has to be complied with. And then Marpol also has in its additional information 2 page at the end certificates of documents required to be carried on board ships. The same thing is attached. They quote the same thing. Okay. So, so the above two parts of Solus, beyond talking about their own chapters, their own topics, yeah, also cover various certificates and documents required by such conventions that we talked about: STCW, MLC, tonnage, load line, CLC, bunker, Nairobi, AFS, and ballast water management, etc. Yeah, so that's why I consider that they are two very important pillars of maritime transport, and they are not that separate identity. They are so interlinked, intertwined with each other as well as with other conventions. Okay, so those are about that. So there's one other convention of IMO which is enforced, which has got certificate on board, which I will not talk about now. I will leave it to the end, that you will understand why later on. I will come to that later on. Okay. Uh, Now, these conventions are there, and then we talked about the flag state administration or the organization and all. Who enforces this convention? The flag state. Yeah. Why? Almost all these conventions or enforcements in Solus chapters or the certifications that are required as per Solus or Marpol that have to be enforced on board, and the way it is to be done is this that inspection and survey of ships to enforce regulations under the conventions shall be carried out by the officers of the administration. The administration may, however, entrust the inspection and survey either to the surveyors nominated for the purpose or to an organization recognized by it. Generally, an organization recognized by it, and we have seen the meaning of it that they are nothing other than the classification societies. Classification societies has come under the IAX. Okay, so the flag states mandates all the certificates and documents are required by these conventions to be carried on board ships. How do they mention? They have to mention somewhere, right? Hey, as soon as you flag under me, you have to have all these certificates and documents. Well, they have. We all know that flag states come out with merchant shipping notices, merchant shipping information notes, etc. Depending on the term depends on the flag state. So Hong Kong Merchant Shipping Information Note mentions, yeah, this that okay. So they come out with an information note that IMO circular and the requirements of certificates. This is the Hong Kong flag state requirement, yeah, that what certificates to be carried on board ships. IMO circular and the requirements on certificates and documents and publications that are required or recommended to be carried on board Hong Kong ships engaged in international voyages. Yeah. So this is a merchant shipping information note number 22, 2022. I hope that is the latest one. Yeah, as approved by the Fall Convention. So, yeah, merchant ships have to comply with the certificates and documents that are required to be carried on board ships as per the circular, which is attached as Annex 1 to this notice of reference. So they have attached this IMO circular to Annex 1 of their notice. Okay, this is part of this merchant shipping information note. Yeah, and in addition to Annex 1, this one, yeah, so Hong Kong ships engaged in international voyages are also required or recommended to carry certificates and documents and publications, yeah, as detailed in Annex 2 of these regulations. Yeah. So we have Annex 2. I have attached this. Okay, I'm searching for it. Yeah, it's at the back. Okay, Annex 2. So they list out a list of certificates and documents. Well, what does it mean? Whatever we have missed out, there are a lot of thoughts going on in everybody's mind. Hey, there are a lot more other documents that we carry on board. Lot more other documents, logbooks that we maintain on board. What about that? Yeah, they're all enumerated here. Nothing is missed out. Yeah, everything is enumerated here. This is as per Hong Kong circular. One can go to their own flag state and then find out such requirement. Each flag state has got such a notice that yes, you have to comply with the certificates and documents as required by IMO. Other than that, you have to comply with my requirement also. Yeah. What are they, for example, to see what Hong Kong flag state says? Yeah. Part A is required to be carried, mandatory. Yeah, and it's got many columns. Yeah, what are they? Item, description, reference. Yeah, and then remarks. Yeah, in the item, this is the serial number. Okay, description is, say, for example, certificate of registry or certificate of provisional registry. Yeah, under which this comes under which regulation? For of the Hong Kong Ordinance. Yeah, we are talking about the flag state circular, right? So directly we relate it to the Hong Kong regulations. Yeah. Okay. Then all ships must carry. So here it is mentioned that all ships. So such document will be there for all other flag states under whichever flag state one comes under. Okay, what are they? We'll quickly go through. I'm not going to hang around here for long. Yeah, certificate of class. Yeah, issued by class. Yeah, not by the this one. And then Maritime Labor Convention related certificates and documents such as Maritime Labor Certificate, DMLC Part 1 and Part 2 that we talked about, compliance certificate, and documentary evidence of financial security. That also, that I think 14 and 15 of 15 and 16 of that 1 to 16 of items on the MLC, DMLC one. Yeah, okay. Then publications that are specifically mentioned to be carried by the ship's safety management system manual. So very important. SMS manual. That means whatever SMS is on board that we carry, that the company has enforced, that we comply with as per the ISM requirement for the validity of a safety management certificate. Whatever the publications, whatever they talk about, they are mandatory. I mean, you have to comply with having that on board, and then comply with them on board. Yeah. Okay. So those have to be complied with. Yeah. And then what? Instruction for onboard maintenance of life-saving appliances. Yeah. And there's a detailed list of what? The owner and master of a Hong Kong ship must ensure that the nautical chart publications and the manual carried on board ships are kept up to date. Yeah. So we have nautical charts, publications, and merchant shipping notices, mariner's handbook, notices to mariners, almanac, navigation tables, list of flights, blah 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 blah, and tide tables, tidal stream atlases, and operating and maintenance instructions for the navigational aids carried by the ship. Very important. Sometime back, I talked about this, the manuals which are carried on board ships. There are two, three sets delivered from the shipyard, and it is kept on board. One set is kept in the office, or for a series of sister ships, only one set is kept in the office, then one set is on board. So one need to be very careful, catalog it, and then you may keep an inventory of it. Yeah. After return, put it back, and then if any new equipment is fitted on board, this has to be replaced or inserted in this in series into whichever section which comes under. Yeah, hull, electrical, machinery. Yeah, and navigational items. Yeah, right. Okay. Ocean passages of the world, life-saving signals, international code for the construction of equipment, yeah, for IBC code, yeah. I'm talking about application container ships, yeah. So all ships, Hong Kong merchant shipping notices, yeah, and information notes, yeah. So they have to have all the flag states have their own notices, information notes, ordinances promulgated time and again, kept updated. This has to be provided on board, yeah. So then crew agreement, yeah. So maybe maintain crew agreement, official logbook, code of safe working practices, medical first aid book, international medical guide for ships, either by ILO, IMO, or WHO, yeah. International Convention on STCW book itself, MLC 2006, merchant shipping hours of okay, merchant shipping regulations. There are few merchant shipping regulations that are to be maintained on board. Yeah, so they are what they are: medical examination, repatriation, about and safety officials reporting of accidents and dangerous occurrences. Yeah, that's one thing very important. Yeah, almost all the flag states have their own format of reporting accidents and dangerous occurrences and incidents, yeah, to the flag state, yeah. So a copy of it is to be kept always readily available. This has to be kept available at all times on board. It is under master's custody. It is there, yeah. So and you have to report. Of course, we will seek advice and guidance from our office, from the technicals and the marine superintendent from the technical side, from the crewing side, depending on the circumstances. Yeah, but a copy of it, blank copy of it, to be kept on board, ready to available to be filled up in case of reporting, required reporting. Yeah, it's mandatory. Yeah, so this is what, and then what else? Medical regulations, and medical supplies to be carried on board ships. Yeah, this is mentioned here in the flag state. Yeah. Then the recommended books are there. Recommended documents are there. See, the recommended ones are there. What are they? So you have Solas Convention, Marpol Convention, the booklets itself. Yeah, Coal Reg, all these conventions. Yeah, I talked about tonnage, safe containers. Yeah, and FSS code, LSA code, all the codes, GMDS's book, NAVTEX manual, ship's routing, yeah. So vocabulary, IMO standard maritime phrases, yeah. And what else? So all such things are carried on board. Generally, whatever they say, it is to, which are recommended, which are applicable all to all ships and to a particular specific ship. Generally, company provides so that that we are in full knowledge and full compliance with this circular, and the vessels are operated as per the flag state. Yeah. So the buck stops here. The flag state for everything. Uh, we have to comply with the flag state. Why all the certificates themselves they are issued by the flag state. Where one I talked about why it is so that the flag state, yeah, because inspection and survey of ships to enforce regulations under the convention shall be carried out by the officers of the administration. yeah, by the flag state themselves. But they don't have the capacity. We talked about it earlier. So they have the class societies taking care of this. They appoint a class society. Who appoint? The flag state doesn't appoint. Yeah, the company, your company, and the company as per ISM code chooses the flag state, the class society, which are recognized by that particular flag state, under whose flag you want to fly your ship. Yeah. I mean, fly the flag on board your ship. Yeah, right. Okay. So statutory certificates are issued by the flag state. Yeah. So how does it look? Yeah. Then what does it say? The certificates issued by the flag state under the authority of the government of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, meaning the flag state, by Bureau Veritas. Yeah, under the authority of that particular flag state, I am issuing the certificate, me, the certifying authority, that is the recognized organization, the classification society, RO. RO can be another person also, which we talked about earlier. In the case of Polestar, it is an RO. Yeah, it issues this certificate that we talked about earlier. Okay, right. So beyond these, we carry a lot of other. Okay, one other thing. So these all come under IMO. So WHO, World Health Organization, also we are deeply associated. We are closely associated with, because they have international health regulations with which we have to comply in terms of sanitary conditions on board ships. So we have ship sanitation control certificate, or the exemption certificate, and also we have this Maritime Declaration of Health, and we know under our past COVID times how strict it was, how useful it was, how helpful it was to go through their guidelines to keep all of us safe out at sea. Yeah. So World Health Organization, they have these. International health regulations that we need to be complied with. What are the certificates that are required? One among the certificates, the ship sanitation control exemption certificate, yellow fever book, COVID vaccination certificates, yeah, and then maritime declaration of health, yeah. So I have sorry, the WHO publication, the Guide to Ship Sanitation, has got wealth of information, such as what, such as the use of water in terms of what, the water, any water, ballast water, sewage, grey water management, yeah, and health risks associated with these water. It's a very useful document. There are pointers, there are useful information regarding that in this document, yeah, and they have to be carried on board and to be complied with and kept updated at all times. Okay, right now we have we have talked in some length about all these certificates and documents. There are other ones that are required as per the trade, that when you are trading to a particular region, say United States or China, there are a lot more documents required to be carried as per the trade requirement, like for AMSA's requirement there to carry their own reporting forms to be readily available. Then Suez Canal, when you're transiting, you have to have Suez Canal tonnage certificate. Then when you're going to US, yeah, you got many more documents that need to be carried on board to their requirement. And no matter whether you have you have SOPUP, they have their own contingency plans, their own financial liability certificate, code of certificate of COFR, certificate of financial liability, uh, and then Code of Federal Regulations are to be carried on board. Yeah, and Panama Canal, they have their own certification. Panama Canal measurement of the tonnage, and then their toll. They fix the toll as well. PCUMS figure, the certificate that we have on board. So what such? Now, just to give you a quick run through these, such certificates can be port clearance, sanitary certificates, free critiques, and China SPRO, yeah, tonnage dues, GCC regulations, United States certificate of financial responsibility, COFA Federal, COFA California, yeah, and then NTVRP, CNT VCP, California non-tank vessel contingency plan. California has got something entirely different. Yeah, they are the forerunners in enforcing maritime, environment. Safeguarding of the environment. They're very very strict about it for many many years. Yeah, and then you have federal ones also follow through on that. Anyway, we are coming to a conclusion of this session. I wish you all again a happy New Year and all the best, both at sea and ashore. See you next time. Bye bye.